Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's the Mac. Welcome back to spanking new Panzer Campaigns game, man. Smolensk 43 was released yesterday as I'm recording this video, and I want to give a big shout out thanks for Wargame Design Studio for supplying me with a review copy here. We're going to go through this game, going to have a look at it, and it looks really sweet as always. And you will see quite a lot of changes for people who are actually Wargame Design Studio fans and following the page and reading the news. This has been a long anticipated title and a lot of anticipated upgrade for the Panzer Campaigns series. So this is the 405 version, and I would suspect, and I think they will now update every single Panzer Campaign game to the 405 as time goes on. It's going to be a huge undertaking though, because there's a lot of titles in the series. It's one of the more popular series they got is the Panzer Campaigns there. So you can see already there's a lot of for people who've been playing Panzer battles, they're now using the same sort of interface. So every time you start the game, this particular picture here will be a new picture. There's some really cool ones, and there's even a funny one with a dinosaur. Not really sure what the thing is behind that, but it's sort of a funny picture. Right, so let's have a look at where to start. So much. I think let's start at the main page here. So this is what they rolled out on the Friday the 13th. That's actually 2 days ago, recording this. So the game was released, and it's all here, man. So it's this man here, Danny Asensio. He is don't know much about him, but I think he's like a key player and a key designer in Wargame Design Studio, because he's been working on Rumetsev 43 and Orel 43 as well, and probably lots of other stuff. He seems to be like a real badass designer that they use a lot, and knows his stuff on the Eastern Front. So there's quite a lot of that in the designer notes as well. We're gonna have a look at that, and it's pretty impressive this time around. It's pretty almighty. So yeah, so they rolled this out, and this is going to be like a huge game, like a huge engine improvement with lots of new things added to the Panzer Campaigns, as I mentioned. And one of the biggest sort of anticipated upgrades is actually the artificial intelligence, the AI. It's supposed to be a lot, well, I don't know, I might be saying a lot better, but it's improved, and we'll put it to the test. I think we're going to be smashing it into this game. Once I do a let's play of it, we're going to pick something and play it. So lots of the things, done to this title. Let's just read the stage. So for people who are wondering, what the hell, Smolensk 43? So, they got Smolensk 41. That is like the early days of the war, when the Germans were smashing in Barbarossa, and they, the great encirclement, and they took Smolensk, and they tried to make that push for Moscow, and they got bogged down. They tried to do that winter offensive and just didn't really make it. And then there was sort of a stalemate going on there. They pushed into Stalingrad and all that, and that's, So this is a part of the sort of counteroffensive after Kursk, the failed attack, the failed Kursk offensive that was so, well planned, but also very well prepared for the Russians. They knew everything. They sort of just, they had a plan of their own. So they made once the Germans had blown all the steam and spent all their good units in that major assault, they launched themselves just these huge counteroffensives, and so Rumetsev and Orel, I've been covering them on the channel. If you're not very familiar with, do check out those playlists. So Smolensk is part of that. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it might be the more northern of those three big counteroffensives the Russians did. So yes, it set the stage. Yes, it's what it said. It's summer '43. The German assault at Kursk has failed. The Soviets' successful defense was just the first act in a multi-operation. So Operation Kutuzov was also part of. So that's actually what the operation was called. So you have Operation Rumetsev, but Kutuzov, I think that was what it was called. Yeah. So they the Russians actually managed to recapture Smolensk, and that was after these sort of offensives. The Germans never really recovered on the Eastern Front. They were just constantly fighting defensive battles and retreating, the Russian horde was just pouring in, and they were operation assaults after assaults, just pushing the Germans back, bleeding them dry. They couldn't replenish the soldiers or their stuff at the pace as the Russians were. So Suvorov, there it is. Yeah, so Operation Suvorov. What did I say before? Kutsov? Yeah, okay. So here are the the different offensives that are actually part of the game here. So this starts on August 7th and it was ended somewhere on the September 14th. So it's sort of divided up in different phases. You still have the 1 hexes a kilometer and the turn is 2 hours. There's 74 scenarios in this, and a lot, or the ones I've checked at least, are all sort of AI scripted as well, which is pretty cool. So they put a lot of work into the AI and make it sort of an AI friendly game now, because there's still a lot of people out there that want to play these games, versus the computer, and are not very comfortable playing, play by email or network play and stuff. It's a game should be able to be played solo and versus people. So they've improved that. So there's some screenshots and stuff here. This is sort of the release as the game came out. But one of the more important, and this one actually came on August 9th, was the deep dive into the 405 version. And here they actually take up a lot of stuff that are going to be fixed. So they have the bug fixes. So there's two big ones here for the AI. So the active orders will now be cleared after one turn. So the AI reassesses the situation and issues new orders. Before they just churning on the same orders, even though you sort of became stupid. They would just keep on. Now it actually clears and has some sort of anticipation of the situation and adapts its orders like a human being, basically what we do. So there's lots of enhancements. They have done a lot of shortcut keys, and they have implemented new things with tables, and so you can have, if you're playing on a huge monitor or have several monitors set up, you can now move around different windows and keep them up. Before you weren't able to have your parameter data up at the same time as you had, for example, the command report and stuff like that. So they have sort of improved that, the sort of multitask overview of the game. For some people that's a comfort. I usually just for me that's not a big bother. I open something and close it, but it's for easier accessibility, I guess, for many people who like to have everything on board, so to speak. See here, there's lots of more AI updates. They have done some changes to the night movement behavior. They have done changes to assault, initiating targets, improved the hold orders, including start to end turns. Units are discouraged from leaving fortified hexes. Yeah, that could sometimes happen. The AI was in good position, so suddenly they just went into travel mode and started to leave. And I mean, things like that. I think they have sort of improved that. This is kind of interesting. The wireless intercepts have been added. So this is something from modern campaigns. They have sort of added to the Panzer campaigns that the ability was there to intercept radio signals and sort of pinpoint where exactly are they sending their transmissions from, and let's fire a salvo in that direction. Hopefully, we'll hit their headquarters and knock something out. It did happen during World War II, so I think it's good that they actually implemented it in these games as well. Yeah, so lots of stuff, man. Go into the page and have a read about it. There's no real point for me to go over it all here. We're going to be looking at the game and stuff, but there's lots of cool stuff here. So you just go into wargamemeds.com and you can sort of read these news. Yeah, so the almighty notes, man, they are certainly almighty. There's 81 pages of that, and then some really, really good written notes, and very well put up for. And here's also a very good map, sort of depicting those different operations that took place. So it is called Operations Suvorov. It was the second Battle of Smolensk, so it was part of the Soviet counteroffensive during the summer of '43 after Operation Citadel. So that was the Battle of Kursk. This operation, together with Operation Kutuzov, or the Battle of the Orel Salient, so that's the campaign's Orel covering. Operation Rimutsev, the fourth Battle of Kharkov, that's in the title of Rimutsev, and the Donbass Strategic Offensive Operation are part of the great Soviet effort that sought to destroy the German Heergruppe Mitte and Heergruppe Süd. Forces in a large coordinated series of assaults by several fronts from the Smolensk area to the Sea of Azov. So there was the whole thing there, that whole sort of into modern day Ukraine and stuff. So and the Germans in many of these sectors had some really, really, they've had some quiet sectors here where they've had many months to prepare some pretty formidable defenses and stuff. There were bunkers and minefields and very well defended, but they lacked the manpower to man these and have sort of strategic reserves to move in and fill the gaps and stuff. And the Russians didn't have that problem. They had huge amounts of manpower, massive amount of guns, artillery, even tanks. They could just throw it in. Even though they take heavy losses to just keep on going. So the war of attrition was basically how they managed to overcome these German defenses. So they have this, it's a pretty good map, it just shows you. So here you have Kursk, this is where the Germans were trying to meet up in their pincer attacks to cut off this bulge here and isolate all these armies that were in here. But then they didn't come very far, and then the Russians sort of made their counteroffensives. So I would imagine, I'm not sure if, the first offensive phase Battle of Kursk, Kutuzov and Rimutsev. Yeah, so Suvorov is not on this map. It was actually a bit north of here. So here you have the Orel Salient. Yeah, so this must be Orel 43. What does it say? Yeah, Kutuzov. Yeah, so that was the Orel offensive. So I've covered this. It goes on. It tells you all the stories here. Here you go. This is the Kharkiv. Oh yeah, this is the Kharkiv Rimutsev. So they have that. And this should be... No, this is the Donbass strategic offensive. Okay. So here's the Sea of Azov. So this is where you have Belgorod. Is it Belgorod there, maybe? This is where the fighting actually took place 2022 when the Russians invaded. It went down and Mariupol. That could be Mariupol right there, actually. Yeah, so this is also happened 43, then they pushed the Germans back. They held that line there, but they were pushed back. So they got some good designer notes here. The scale of these battles was just amazing. It's just hard to fathom the forces involved and all this stuff. It's such a huge operational of battles here. So they go on about that, and they make references to the games, to Kursk. I mean, so now there's quite a lot of games covering the 43. 43 was a very crucial year of the Eastern Front, where it all sort of played out. You have, in December, the loss, which, the December, beginning of January 43, the loss of Stalingrad and the encirclement, and then just, they tried to do that Kursk offensive in the summer, and that's when really it all fell apart, and the Russians were on the go, so to speak. So we got some maps and stuff here. This is all the sort of history, very well written, and what commanders and stuff. So this will give you a really good overview of what this title is all about. Basically what I said in layman's terms, but it's more detailed in here. So here you have this Smolensk offensive operation then, yeah, so, wow, look at that. All these, they had so much stuff, it's insane, so. So it says, of course, the offensive on Smolensk carried out by the Red Army during the summer of 43 is described in a more general way in many works that generally describes the operation on the Eastern Front during 43, many of which have been consulted and extensive, is available at the end of the design notes, yeah. So they have some really cool, nice books, recommendations, where they've got inspiration and stuff, and because obviously it's very. I think there's something in these notes as well talking about the credibility of the Russian sources, because they were all were slanted sort of in a Russian favor. In those days, it was like that. So. And there's a big chunk about scenario planning, went into it. So have a read. You can download this from the game page as well. Usually the designer notes and rule books and all that for free downloads on the game page. So some really nice maps they've included here as well. Strategic situation there, right? So here they take up the different operational phases. So there's not one. What really actually is a difference in this game compared to many other Panzer campaigns is that they usually have like one mega huge scenario. It's actually a campaign, but there are scenarios. But anything that's like 148 turns, that's like a couple of days of action. So it's yes, between 7th and 21st of August here. It's 148 turns. So, but they actually, what happened here, it wasn't just in one big huge sweeping, this operation actually happened. It was cut up in stages because, the Russians attacked somewhere, and it was a huge battle, and the Germans were pushed back, and then so there was a lot of intermediate times when actually troops were resting, and recovering and licking their wounds and getting reinforcements, because it was only basically the Russians that were on the offensive. The Germans were just, defending, trying as well, of course. They had a couple of offensives, but smaller compared to the Russian ones. So look, 73 scenarios. So prior to I haven't actually had a look at all the scenarios here. I don't think they take them up in great detail as they do in the other titles, in some other titles. But they take up the first phase of the Suvorov campaign is here. It's 148 turns. And then they have the second phase, and that's 106 turns. And they have the third phase, 186 turns, man. So that's from September 14th. 14th begins there. And then they have some other important Soviet operations that are included as well. They have the first Demidikov-Duvashina offensive operation, 57 turns. Second attempt. So they have the second attempt, 34 turns. So they take that up. I think that's pretty cool that they've actually made them, not... They've actually chunked it up a bit, because sometimes it can be daunting to start like a 400-turn battle, The odds of finishing it, or if you're playing against a human opponent, the odds of actually finishing it is, slim, unless you have someone that's really dedicated, So the optional rules for the title is also in this manual, what they recommend. There's some new stuff. We're going to have a look at that. there's quite a lot of order of battle. We went into researching and stuff. So that's pretty cool that they've got all that. Lots of, as always, in the Wargame Design Studios game, very much research, and they've got stuff that they really have deep dived into to get it as accurate as possible, as realistic as possible. What units were actually part of the fighting and stuff. Look at all this stuff, man. It's insane. And then they have map notes, so they're all about the research of the maps. And here's something, the Operation Support of the campaign. Here's a whole chunk, again, about the background and the backdrop of the campaign and why it happened and the planning that went into it. And I mean, wow, really, really nice. Here's like a lot to read and go through here. So, yeah. I haven't read actually a lot of this. It's actually an operation that I'm not familiar. Probably with many people, they're not. I mean, they know about the general offensive and what happened, but in detail, man, you got to get down to it. So I mean, you got to read some stuff and maybe watch some documentaries and stuff to get into it, because there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff to cover here. So they actually do take up the scenarios here. Look at that. So it's all here, all the different scenarios in detail, and very much so in the game as well, as you can see. Very well written now. So I wonder if there is a scenario that is not an assault scenario. So I was thinking of doing a let's play of one of the scenarios that, if there is one that is actually troop movements on both sides. That'd be fun to see how the AI behaves now. I mean, because the AI has always been pretty okay in defensive missions. It's been pretty okay in that, but it's more of the offensive that I'm interested in. How well the AI performs now in an offensive matter. How does it think? How does it plan moves? How does it utilize its units? But as you can see, there's a lot of scenarios here. So we're going to pick something, we're going to play it. But I think for now, let's just start something off. I guess we could just start getting started. I just want to get into the game. Actually, we can fire up some of the big ones, and you can have a look at what it looks like. So they have the toolbar is the same. There's no graphic updates that I know of. Graphics are basically the same. This command report, it's different now. They have you can leave that in the game now. Before, if you clicked outside that window or if you clicked on it, it would disappear. Now it actually has like a cross button to take it away. But you can sort of leave it up there. And if you take it down, I guess you can just go into the command report and get it up there. So this is, they've really made the game more friendly for people who are playing on huge monitors. I don't have a huge monitor. I think my monitor is like 27 inches or something, but I know people playing like on 40 inches and stuff, big screens, or maybe they have multiple, screens. I actually used to have a screen, an extra screen set up, but I haven't used it for a while. But sometimes it helps to have all the stuff there. You don't have to have it all on the board. On the game interface. Yeah, so this is a big one here. This is probably the initial stages of the attack. I think they made this was an important hub to capture. So they made an attack in there, and also Yurtsevo, of course, they were assaulting all along here, this whole front. Yelnya was an important hub to grab. I think, they do have Smolensk here as well on the map. And I think you can even have the jump map up now. So you can have that on screen now as well. That's a new feature. Another one, let's see if I can remember it. We probably have to check the page, because they do take it up here. So they have the organization enhancements, Alt Q. Yeah, so they have this now. I mean, they had this before, but I think you can leave it open, and you can sort of have a look at So there is what is that? 132,930 men. So you can see the Russians have like the doubling amount. The Germans have 1,583 guns. They have 7,400 and 1,099 vehicles. Look at the planes there, 726 to 284, man. Yeah, so you can now have a look at like, I want to find, what do I want to find here? Let's see. 256 Infantry Division. Where is it? It's over here. It's easy to find. Oops. So there's the 256 Infantry Division. You can have a look at that, so I mean this is good for people who want to have find specific divisions and trying to recreate what they did and stuff. So I think that's a pretty cool feature. What else is new there? I think they have so they have the jump map. So they have a short key of J. So that you can have that up. Since I have such a small screen now, it's going to be all cluttered with windows. But so the show Alt Q was that. Yeah, if an organization is highlighted on a map and then show organization dialog open Alt Q, the dialog would now expand the organization tree to show the selected organization. Yeah, so we've seen that. Jump command report Alt K. You have the parameter data is F3. So you can have this up here now as well. All these windows you could probably have like on a separate. I mean, it's easier. I mean, it sort of makes it easier to check and keep track of things. So that's pretty cool. So there's lots of good stuff here, man. I think they might have like a changes file as well. Yeah. So this is like summarization of the enhancements. So it's what we've been through here. Formations may now show if they are not present or reinforcements in the scenario being played. Yeah. Alt K, we did the parameter data. Yeah, so there's lots of things, man. Morale checking code has been. Yeah, there's another thing that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like this. So determining whether morale checks are applicable is now based on ratio of losses to the current strength. So I think that's pretty cool. If you've taken like high casualties in a unit, I mean the odds of them actually getting back and passing their morale check is getting lower by the loss of men. I think that's pretty cool. Something about armored trains, obviously versus like specific scenarios. A pathfinding added AI updates. Okay, yeah. So this is what we gone over. Improvements to movement scripts, including start and end turns. Improvements to hold orders, including start and end turns. Changes to assault initiation on targets. Changes to night movement behavior. That's probably very important. An AI offensive and defensive fire takes into account the state of firing unit. Yeah, that's good because before I think the AI just fired it with everything, even though they were fatigued and stuff, and they sort of did unnecessary firing. If you sort of want to preserve a unit that's already disrupted and taken heavy casualties, you might not want to attack with it, but you might want to keep it in place as a buffer, but you don't want to use it to attack and take unnecessary incoming artillery fire or return fire from an enemy unit. Yeah, and this wireless interceptions, that's pretty cool. It's going to be fun to see how that works in the game. A new optional rule was added to prevent units with low ammo from firing. That's cool. And the Windows Edge scrolling for multi-monitor support. Yeah. Limited time objectives. Yeah, so this is something new as well. This is something they've got from Panzer Battles. I know they had that there. Actually, they've had that in previous titles, but it's now shows on the map. So, for instance, I'm not sure if there's actually an example in this in this particular scenario. Might not be, but for instance, if this was one, it would have a number next to it. That would say that in this hex, this objective has to be captured within 5 turns, or that you're going to be losing those victory points, not be able to take them. Those victory points will be going to the Germans in this case, because they held it for that long, and that gave them that strategic advantage, or those objective points. So I don't think there's an example here actually. I haven't checked that in advance. I don't know, maybe Smolensk is like that. No, it's 1,000 points there. All right, so but you get the idea what I'm talking about. So that's pretty cool. So support the use of colon in the unit of component name. Okay, I changed that. So there was something about being spotted and stuff as well. That they did some changes to that. Yeah, so now it says spotted here. I think before they had that icon with the binoculars. It just says here now that these units have been seen by the enemy. These Katushkas have not. They have not been spotted by the enemy. So that's a cool feature as well. Yeah, so playing a battle here, man. We're gonna be doing something. Gee, now there's a new picture here. Yeah, I'm gonna do some research here. See what we can do. What kind of fun scenario to play. They might mostly be sort of attack and defense. So every single scenario now has some sort of scripting here. So intended to play, even these huge ones, man, like the first phase, it's actually intended to play as the Soviet versus the AI. So it's not even meant to be played, this particular version is not even meant to be playing versus human opponent. This is purely scripted to be the Russians versus the Germans in this one. And that's pretty cool for being 148 turns. And this one here, what's this one? A first phase, Russian. This scenario has limited victory points. This campaign scenario covers the first phase of the... Okay, so this one has... all right, we could have a check at that. So this one here is actually intended to play as Axis versus the AI. And it's also made into a head-to-head, which is pretty cool. So let's open this one up. I just want to see if there's a difference in the objectives in this one. Yeah, here's an example. You see that 100, and then there's a colon, and there's 23. So they need to be captured within that amount of time, or they are going to go to the German player. Those victory points there. Pretty cool stuff. What else? So there's lots here, man. I'm gonna have to do some research here what to play. Yeah. All of them have been scripted. I think that's pretty cool. I wonder if there's anything that's just for head-to-head. But there's lots also for to play versus head-to-head. Yeah, I wonder what the challenge will be, man. We're going to do something smaller. Something that probably a bit smaller. So it's only 10 turns. So it's probably a snippet of the... so they usually divide it up like this. This is the first... So this is the Dorogobush. That was something that was actually... that I saw... before. Yeah, this is probably about this particular attack here, smashing through here to be able to get to that place there. It's 26 turn one, and it's a 10 one. So 10 turn is probably the one that just dealing with the to smash through the defenses, and then you have the capture of so August 7th. Wow, That actually happens on the... let's fire that one up. So this one is 24 turns. Okay, so they have included all these units though. Some sort of attack going on in the north as well. 71st Rifle Corps, 133rd Rifle Division. And here you have the 352nd Rifle Division. 312, and some more in the back here to be thrown in. 207th. All right, so pretty cool. So lots of them dealing with that initial phase. Break Planinovo. I wonder what that would be, where that is. I was in the north, alright. There it is, Pavlinovo. Wow, look at the forces here, man. Jeez, so many forces. So look at the big picture. Let's have a look at the map. Where would that be? Would that be up here, maybe? It's Evo. Roiki. Wow, look at all these forces here. This is Yelnya. Here it is. So that is actually the... Wow, look at that. Yeah, so this is about the attack down to cut the rail to here, I would imagine. So you can tell based by looking at the map where some of the where the main efforts are. So look at the map here. So yeah, you could tell that here's a big attack trying to go smash through there. Here's something. Maybe here's definitely something big. All these divisions coming in here, smash through. Pavlino. Here's an attack for this Drogobush. And there's something up in the north here as well. Yeah, look at all this. Yeah, so cool game, man. I think I've gone over most of the changes. I like it, man. It's looking sweet, and it's gonna be fun to see kind of how the AI is doing. So there's a couple taking up on that. Assault Buffalo. This scenario simulates the first combat of the 10th Guard Army in the assault on the Buffalo line. Wonder where that was. Wow, small map, man. Yes, this is a chunk of that major offensive there. Here the Germans dug in. Smolensk offensive. Civil first phase. So this must be, it says August 7th. So this is all the initial attacks. The Western Front South operations. Yitsevo, so that it was for that town, yep. Here is a pop-up surprise. So that's the 10th of August. This scenario describes the 10th Army attack from Kirov. 10th place Soviets. Okay. And here's an extended version of it. 49th Army attack. That was the 12th of August. This scenario describes the operation of the 49th Army as it advanced towards Spasdemensk. The 49th Army attack began last as the role Sokolovsky gave it at the beginning of Operation Suvorov was defense. Alright, so it was first on the defense and then it sort of attacked on the 12th there. Here's something on the 13th. Scenarios describes the beginning of the operation of the 43rd and 39th Armies of the Kalini Front during the Civil War operation. It's also on the 13th. 13th there. 25th of August there, so that's quite the time in there. This must be the second phase. This scenario describes the second attempt by the 39th Army to capture the town of Lukashenko. Okay. 25th as well. The town of Berezhneva was heavily fortified, forming of the outer defenses of Lukashenko. So there's a couple of scenarios. 28th, all right. Battle of Yelnya was the 28th. Yeah. There's lots of stuff here, man. Cool. Well, yeah, so I think we've gone over most of the stuff. So this is just an introductory video and a shout out that the game has been released. So if you're a Panzer Campaign lover, go over to Wargame Design Studio and get yourself a copy. And if anybody has any requests for a certain scenario, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'll just pick something. And we'll see how how hard it's going to be now with the new AI and then all the new improvements. So I want to thank you guys for watching, man, and I'll see you in the next videos, man. Have a good one. See ya.